Alrighty, welcome back. Short break. And in that short break, I injured my wrist somehow. Actually, no, I'm kidding. It's just kind of sore. It's sore from doing yard work and stuff. Anyway, the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. I need to get back to this, because if I don't play this overextended for a while, I tend to forget what's going on. Bring the game up, play your game. Begin. My notes. What does my notes say? Kazuma killed in his cabin, door locked. Something written in Russian. Last night's log was blank. Strong enough as a suspect and the door can be locked. And the ship rocks. Okay, so... Alright, so I guess I remember a little bit what happened last time. I still don't know if there's going to be a trial. So far it's just... Maybe that's all this is. Maybe this is just like an extended investigation tutorial. But I need to make some progress here. Because, you know, we can't leave Ryunosuke as a suspect forever here. The Burya, Miss Perlover's cabin. Somehow, the door to the cabin we were in ended up bolted after we made an emergency stop. Why did we stop? I don't know. Susato-san took a deep breath, then gently slid back the bolts. Oh no, it was the detective. Oh no, okay. Yeah, actually, yeah, the detective. Oh no. What are you doing in Miss Pavlova's quarters? I will Russian upchuck you. Ah, you both look unhurt. Good. Unlike me, I'm very hurt. They're fine. Okay. We're going to collide with another ship. Why? Was nobody paying attention? There's been a false report. A false report of running into a ship. Okay. Why would there be a false report? That sounds very suspicious. How did that happen? Do explain. There's a dense fog outside, so it's extremely difficult to see. Someone must have thought we saw a ship ahead. This person obviously triggered the alarm, and that's why we made an emergency stop. Oh yeah, that's right. There's an emergency stop thing kind of outside in the hallway too. Somebody could have triggered that and then caused the doors to lock. Okay. Everything is chaos. Passengers are screaming. Crew are running everywhere. Except for here. It's just us here. Very calm. This first class area is the only quiet part of the ship at the moment. Yes, just what I said. Oh, I see. No, I don't see. I see it. I see all. Trigger be online. Press the button outside. Yes, the button. I was just talking about that. You wicked intruder. Dressed in black. You are the devil. Sorry, me? We've been in here the whole time. You opened my traveling case. How could you? No, we did not open it. That was opened already. Inspector. Yes? Arrest this man. I know he did it. He is a criminal. Is it not enough that he has killed a man? Duh, and he has stowaway as well. If Vixen promises not to steal chicken, do you believe? Vixen? Does he mean a fox? A fox or some kind? Take him away. He is a trespasser as well as everything else. Stowing away, trespassing, killing. She is right. You are devil. Diver. There's cell below deck. Throw him in. Tomorrow we're talking Hong Kong, then we'll give you straight to police. This is a Russian vessel. I really have no jurisdiction here. After my last effort to appeal to the captain's good nature, I got the shit beat out of me, so I can't do anything. Immediate solution. Play dead. Fake a heart attack. Oh no, I need medical attention. Just need to keep calm and inspect the dresses. Don't touch my things. Want me to show you where crawfish hibernates? Judo chop. Naruto, what do you think you're doing? Okay, so apparently inspecting things will get me judo chopped. You've got yourself into a difficult situation here. By entering this cabin uninvited, I mean. Sorry, I was just so desperate to find a clue. I'm afraid there's really nothing more I can do to help you. If I push my luck any further, a punch to the face will be the least of my worries. I mean, they'll probably punch me in the dick next time. That'll be even worse. I'm really sorry. I have to take responsibility for giving you the freedom to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin. Now this has happened. We'll have to report to the captain at once. I save you rescuing me from this crisis. Is there... some... What is he doing? What? What are you doing? What are you doing up there? Mr. Sholmes, why are you wearing a tiara? Naturally, I was analyzing what a weight of 20,000 rubles feels like on one's head. Have I not told you that as a detective, it is my business to know what other people do not? This isn't mere tomfoolery, my boy. Oh, no. Well, why were you hanging from the hook before then? Isn't it obvious? To properly assess the weight of the 20,000 rubles, naturally. I wish to determine if it would bend that conceited-looking hook on the wall, so full of brag and bounce. Ah, you again. The great detective. Ah, Inspector. I confess I've been looking for you. I have something to report to you most urgently. Well, you might try looking for me somewhere other than a hook on the wall next time. What is the report? Speak. An urgent report from a great detective can mean but one thing. Yes. The case of the curious murder that took place last night, here on this vessel, the steamship Burya. has been solved. By me, naturally. What? What? Oh, what? Really? Yes. I have eliminated all other possibilities. No other explanations exist. So, allow me to illuminate all your minds. For I am about to reveal my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. You have solved it. Even Hedgehog understands this case. We all knew who was responsible for killing student boy this morning, when we found criminal in wardrobe. It is this doorway, and he has handcuffs to prove it. Handcuffs don't prove a thing. Just because somebody has handcuffs on does that automatically mean they are criminal. It just means they have handcuffs on. Didn't do it, of course. Of course not. The trouble is, there doesn't appear to be anyone else who could have killed the victim. Because, as everyone knows, the cabin door is bolted shut from the inside. We've already shown that can't be the case. The door could have been shut from the outside. It was shut from the outside. We know that. It means the culprit must be someone who was inside the cabin. Nope, not necessarily. Call it a locked room mystery in detective stories. Duh, locked room, that's the point. The room was locked. You are all quite mistaken. The cabin next door is not a so-called locked room at all. What? What? Oh yes, there is another entrance. An entrance used last night by the culprit in order to gain access to the cabin despite of a bolted door. Pardon me, I have to sneeze right now. Oh yes, that was a most loud sneeze. Too bad you did not get to hear that. What other entrance? Where does go? One. Why, it gapes open-mouthed at you, even as we speak. The ventilator, man. Man? The ventilator? Yeah. You think this is fun? I cannot even put my arm through that hole. You're suggesting that the culprit injured and left the victim's cabin through that tiny opening. It's not possible. Unless it was a snake. But it is. And last night, the victim even witnessed the intruder in the act of passing through the ventilator. Mr. Sholmes, do you mean? Are you referring to the words Kazuma-sama wrote in his diary? 123, I can hear a faint whistling sounds. Looks like some sort of speckled bands. Precisely, my dear madam. But what does it mean? What is this speckled band? The answer to that particular conundrum is in this very cabin. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? Why are you dancing and mock punching? There is a distinct element of danger, but fear not, I am ready. What I am about to expose for you all to see will shock you to your cores. Behold! Yeah! What the... Is it a snake? It's a snake. Allow me to introduce you all to the band. The Speckled Band. A snake. Indubitably. Sholmes, just one thing. Pray, what troubles you? Well, that snake isn't really speckled, is it? Looks more stripy, wouldn't you say? Hmm. You'd have to say it's striped, yeah. Striped band, wouldn't you say? You both see and observe, with distinction, however. Do you not think that is precisely the trap into which the culprit wishes you to fall? It's a trap. It's a trap. I think perhaps it is time I explain the intricacies of my train of thought. Are you ready, Miss Pavlova? I'm sorry for the young man who died. That is all. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. There are two conclusions I have drawn from the facts. Number one. Last night, your friend infiltrated the victim's cabin. And number two. That same friend was responsible for the victim losing his life. No. Someone must be right, hit the nail on the head. This young woman's friend killed Mr. Ryunosuke. I can't speak with it. Is the snake constricting his head? You might want to get the snake off his head. Just saying. I would advise as little movement as possible, Seaman. You wouldn't want the fangs of that long friend in your neck, or you don't want them constricting around your neck, because that would be even worse. So everyone, let us begin. Sherlock Holmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Oh, we get another deduction part of the game. Okay. Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. And it is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected, another telltale glance. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band, whereas regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. What explanation can we give, pray? What was the sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night? No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this. Oh, but it does. You have the answer to this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. Yes, that which you are trying but failing to conceal can only be the snake's sloughed skin. Evidently, after the subtle and horrible crime, the most deadly friend of yours shed its original skin. No? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what that is. Last night, through the ventilator visible in this cabin, Norvin's speckled friend slithered next door. How did the snake get up to the ventilator? I'm just wondering. Because that's straight up the wall. Unless the snake was like really big and really long. It doesn't look like it's that big of a snake. Just food for thought. How did the snake climb up into the ventilator? Using the bell cord on the other side of the divide as a bridge, the serpents silently descended into the victim's quarters. In the dim light, it appeared to a young gentleman who was about to lose his life as a speckled band. In summary, the nature of this friend of yours, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a rare breed of snake, whose markings change each time it sloughs its skin. A snake so dreadful we can only imagine it would be found in the deepest depths of India. How Mr. Ryunosuke died. Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I have been apprised, it would appear there were no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime. Oh no, could there be? Yes, an examination of the deceased body will prove the cause of death conclusively. The almost, but not quite, imperceptible puncture wounds left by the venomous fangs will seal the truth. Yes, the vestiges of the snakebite delivered by your terrifying friend. This makes no sense. You're just making stuff up now. There's no point feigning ignorance, Miss Pavlova. After the incident, you endeavored to hide everything, didn't you? But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right. You hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case. When we first met in this cabin, it came to my attention that your case moved periodically. Your servant assassin was restless inside, no doubt. You don't. It is telling that the victim made note of the low whistling sound that he heard minutes before his end. That was your signal, was it not? The sound you had used to train your serpent friend. To train? I don't know what that is. Indeed, you'd put the serpent through this ventilator and wait. After a period, you summon it back with a whistle. You couldn't know if the animal had done its duty, so you would listen for signs of life next door. If the victim appeared to not have been dispatched, you'd release the snake once more. Do you deny this snake has undergone such training? It's not true. I deny it all. It's not true. It's not. I didn't kill him. I did not. Having slithered through the ventilator and down the bell cord, the creature needed only to sink its fangs in once. And its venom would course through the victim's veins, ending his existence forever. That is the true nature of the speckled band that took the poor young man's life. There can be no doubt. My logic is infallible. It's probably close to what happened. I think there's a few details we need to work out. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of the speckled band. End credits. Miss Pavlova has trained her pet snake as a killing machine. There on the floor you will observe a saucer of milk. The promise of food is the key to training any creature. Incredible, you've solved the mystery, yay. Clap, clap, clap. Amazing, your great deduction really lives up to its name. I see now why Herlock Sholmes has become such a household name. Or not. My dear man, it was nothing remarkable. As the Russians say, I could have done it with one left hand. Could I venture an opinion, Mr. Sholmes? But of course, what's on your mind? It's just about your deductions before. Some things don't quite make sense to me. I welcome questions as to my method, and will answer both loudly and proudly. Oh, well, good. First of all, snakes are egg-laying creatures, part of the reptile family. They don't really drink milk. You are well informed, madame. And reptiles, don't drink milk. Ah. It's really only mammals that like to drink milk, you see. So, I'm not sure it would be possible to train a snake using milk as a reward. No matter. No doubt Miss Pavlova used some other treat to encourage her pet to do her bidding. Milk was merely an example. The logic holds. Actually, no, it doesn't, because the milk is an actual thing that exists. So we know the milk exists for a reason, we just need to know what the reason is. So, is it possible there is a second animal aboard? Like a monkey or something like that, maybe? Or what else would there be? A cat? Yeah, cats. Yeah, a cat would drink milk. So maybe there's a cat also. Well, there is something else. Snakes have no ears. Ah, that is true, I believe. Yeah, so I'm not sure it would really be possible to signal a snake by whistling. But, madame, what of the tales of Moravia? Have you not heard of the snakes that dance to the sound of a flute? I think perhaps the performers play their music in time with the snake's natural movements. Yeah, it's that way. Oh, I see. No hands, no feet, no ears. These creatures are so inept as to be practically useless. Don't take it on snakes, Mr. Sholmes. There is one other thing. You have more? Snakes use the scales on their bellies to propel themselves. So, I'm not really sure that a snake could manage to climb up a flat bell cord like the ones in the cabins. Yes, as I mentioned, I was wondering, how did the snake get up there? Then it should try harder, then. That should be the answer. It should just try harder to get up to the ventilator up on the wall. It didn't try hard enough. Please don't be angry with me, Mr. Sholmes. The point is, even if the snakes had gone through the ventilator to the next door cabin, it couldn't have come back without help. What I'm trying to say is that there are a number of reasons why it's difficult to imagine the snake could have had a part in this. Don't everybody look at Ryunosuke here. I mean, come on. I think we need to step in and help again, Miss Naruhodo. Yes. Yes, we do. Oh no, you don't mean... Oh no, I gotta do this again. Yes, we need to modify Mr. Schoenblade's deduction and turn them into the great ones that they ought to be. Alright, let's give it a try. Just what I was waiting for, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, right. So, cast your eyes down to your wrist again. What? Oh, they're gone. You've done it again! Your handcuffs are gone, just like that. Where did they go? Fear not. I shall see they're restored after our work is done. Just leave them off, okay? It'll be a lot easier. Now, everyone, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his Logic and Reasoning Spectacular, Part 2. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Miss Pellow moments ago claimed the following. Steps nothing with me. Okay. Aching heart. Smarts with pain. She does have a pained expression on her face. Yes, that's true. She looks as though Kazuma-sama's death is weighing heavily on her mind. But you're not sure Mr. Sholmes has read her quite correctly, is that it? He's some other way to interpret her expression. Let's take a moment and really look very closely at Miss Pavlova. She's looking at her left wrist. Left wrist. Why would she be doing that? Ah. A scratch. A cat scratch. Oh, Naruhodo-san, looks like a very painful wound. Looks like a scratch made by some kind of small animal. Fairly recently, too. The other scratcher doesn't appear to be around here. Let's see if there's anything else here. No, that's probably it. Left here? So it's petite ears, a beautiful hair, pink shells. What's that? Thing down from ear is called a big earring. It's an earring. The crescent moon looks like a rose made from wood. Okay, kind of irrelevant information. Okay, well, I'm pretty sure this is it here, so present.
Yes!
Yes! Yes, when you recall those horrid events, that claw scratch smarts with pain. Indeed, and simple observation reveals that the wound is fresh. Yeah. Miss Pavlova, did you in fact receive that scratch? Sometime last night. When I think about the young man who died next door, I feel so sad. And when I am sad, the pain from this wound is worse. And it is that very pain that evidences your... What is the nature of this intruder? Your friend is a roving serpent. Okay, it's probably a cat. Seems like we've got this scratch mark on the back of Miss Pavlova's hand. It was made by this friend of hers, doesn't it? Except, snakes don't have claws, do they? No, they don't. They don't even have hands or feet on which claws might grow. Well then, if that snake isn't her pet, what is? What's the true identity of this friend of hers? We should follow her gaze, Naruhodo-san. That's where we'll find the answer. Ah, a picture. With a cat. Ah, look at this photograph in this frame. This must be something Miss Pavlova brought with her when she ran away. She's exceptionally beautiful, isn't she? Yes, that's true, but personally, it's the little black creature she's holding that's caught my eye. That creature. Maybe we better take a close look at this. It is a cat. Look at the little cat Miss Pavlova's cuddling here. Oh, what a cute little kitten. It could vie with you, couldn't it, Naruhodo-san? For the blackest outfit. Black kitten. And from the look of this picture, at least, Miss Pavlova seems very attached to it.
Yes!
Little kitten. Without doubt, your friend is the little kitten we see before us. Yes, the scratch on the back of your hand makes that abundantly clear. Oh no. The whereabouts of this black kitten isn't clear, but what is clear is that you brought the animal with you when you ran away, didn't you? Darka is my best friend. I couldn't leave her behind. Darka would appear to be a Russian blue. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. We still have a snake here. This specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. Because it is a cat. Yeah, don't look at me, is that amazing? But it does, you're not answering okay to thing. I don't think that's snake skin. It might be something else. It might just be a scarf. Do you see that? She just took something out of her pocket and hid it behind her back. Like, why did she take it out of her pocket? She could have just left it in her pocket and it would have been hidden. She actually took it out of her pocket and now it's visible. You know, yes, Naruhodo just thought that's what I said. If she left it in her pocket, no one would have ever known. Oh yes, ploys like that are Mr. Shoma's specialty. He's ever so cleverly forced to reveal something. I thought deduction was a specialty, or maybe making me believe that was a ploy too. Anyway, I find it hard to believe that's the skin of a snake. In which case, it has to be something else. That's what she had on her back, okay. So what exactly is this? Well, it is speckled and it is a band, but what is it? It seems to be soft and fluffy, a long piece of cloth of some sort. That looks like a handle, I believe. I think it may be a cat's toy. This sort is common in the West, apparently. Oh, how is that a toy for cats? It looks like a fuzzy whip. Cats like to chase the band. Cats like to chase the band around a pod. Are you stupid or something, Naruhodo? Have you never seen cat toys before? They like to chase, like, weird things around, like laser pointers. Oh wait, no, that doesn't exist yet. Never mind. Forget I said anything. Kittens in particular love that sort of play. No need to wave in front of them, and they pounce to catch it. Haha, sounds positively adorable. Cat's toy.
Yes!
Yes, the thing you are trying but failing to conceal is, a cat's toy. Precisely, and the true nature of the now infamous speckled band. And it was this toy that you dangled through the ventilator. You waved it around, I presume? Naturally, the victim could not fail to notice it. But why? For what reason? My dear boy, there can only be one answer to that. After her feline friend disappeared through the ventilator into the neighboring cabin, Miss Pavlova attempted to use the speckled attempted to use the speckled cat's toy to incite the creature to return. In summary, the nature of this friend of Miss Pavlova's, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a blithesome Russian blue breed of cat by the name of Darka. Yeah. A truly troublesome feline, young Darka is proving to be. She must be caged once found. You will forgive us for borrowing the photograph of your pet, Miss Pavlova. It was after I gave her food last night. That's when it happened. The cat killed him. She scratched the back of my hand and then ran up the bell cord. Before I could do anything, she had disappeared through the ventilator. Darka, she is so naughty. Now my cat is so naughty. Alright, so how did he actually die? Lay on a hard matter of vandalize the victim. Terrible venom. What Mr. Sholmes says is true. We don't know that. He's just making an assumption here. There are no signs of wound anywhere in someone's body, but therefore he could not have been bitten by the snake. That's right. But Mr. Sholmes seems to be unaware of one very important detail. Kazuma wasn't poisoned. Yes. Yes, it would seem so. Let's give him the information he's missing now. Let's see. Well, that's a cervical spine injury.
Yes!
In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by the post-mortem report. You know that thing, Mr. Sholmes? Oh yes, I knew it was one or the other. His neck was... Indeed, the breaking of the cervical vertebrae is fatal. Only that Goliath would be strong enough to survive that. The seaman Stroganoff isn't some immortal freak, you know. The jury is out on that. Anyway, we have on good authority that the victim's neck was broken. Now, if we take that as fact... Using as remains evidence to affirm at the scene. So what evidence is there? Examination of the deceased body will prove the cause of death. Kazuma died because his neck was broken. In other words, he was probably struck by something or someone. Yes, that's a distinct possibility. As of yet, no weapon has been found, though. Presumably Darka didn't silently creep up behind Kazuma and deal him a fatal blow. Yes, it was the kitten. The kitten killed him. Broke his neck. I suppose. It's possible that he had a fall and hit the ground awkwardly. Could have been a terrible act of misfortune that he broke his neck completely by accident. Oh yes, a bad fall could explain it. It's rather hard to believe of Kazuma-sama though. I mean, he's so athletic with his sword. I mean, how could he like trip up and fall and crack his neck doing something stupid like swinging his sword around in his room? He wasn't a clumsy man, yes. Well, we need to fix the deduction somehow. Is there anything from the scene that could explain what happens? Oh, hold on. That looks kind of like a bell, doesn't it? Is that... Was that the thing on the cat? I'm gonna present that because I don't know what else I can present. That's just my assumption here. Yes, an examination of the mark on the floor will prove the cause of death conclusively. He slipped on shoe grease and broke his neck. The particular mark so prominently visible next to the... This particular mark so prominently visible next to the victim's body is a deposit of shoe polish. Shoe polish? What is that? I don't know. Indeed. Positively identified by a little analysis device I constructed, which I carry now as a matter of course. Beeswax, tallow, and dye were my results. The undeniable ingredients of shoe polish. And the color of the polish is a perfect match to the color of Mr. Asogi's laced leather shoes. Looking at this mark, it's not hard to imagine what happened. For some reason, Mr. Asogi must have caught his foot at that point on the floor and tripped. Please, no. And, by a dreadful turn of misfortune, caught his neck against some immovable object as he fell to the floor. Suffering a fatal blow to the spine, the victim's vertebrae shattered, and in that instant, he lost his life. No! My cat really did kill him. I don't know. I don't know anything about this. Is that really true, Miss Pablo? What about the evidence left at the scene where Mr. Asogi lost his life? Yes, the facts are as clear as day to me. You did all you could to conceal the incriminating evidence. But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. Is there shoe polish in the case? Or a broken bell? I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama merely tripped over and... He tripped over like a damn idiot and killed himself. Kazuma-sama, you're not cool anymore. It can't be, I refuse to accept it. I know it's hard to believe, but the mark on the floor does seem to suggest that's what happened. But, and if this part of Mr. Shom's deduction is right, Miss Pavlova is trying to hide some evidence that would prove it. Here, in this cabin. Somewhere in the direction that she just cast her eyes. Where, I wonder? Let's have a good look around. The answer must be here somewhere. Oh, I was going to try and look inside the case. What about the wastebasket here? This is a waste paper basket that's all first-class cabins have them. Miss Pavlova only started occupying this cabin late last night. Presumably there's not much rubbish in there yet, so what is in there? Oh, there's the bell. Well, what's that? It's a broken piece of glass, isn't it? Yes, it is. And I feel like I've seen it somewhere before. It looks familiar, perhaps it's more in your mind simply playing tricks on you. Can we see inside the box? Okay, nothing in there. Yeah, the little cat was in there. But where did the cat go? I wonder where it went. Or the cat turned into a snake. Ah, someone appears to have dropped 20,000 rubles here. That would be a shame if that just disappeared. Yoink. It hasn't been dropped nor who the sun's been placed. It's starting to sound like Mr. Chalmers. Stop trying to sound like the great detective. You're not him. You're not as cool as him.
Yes!
That's right. You hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that waste paper basket. Ah. Here we have the fragment of some intricate glass object, it would seem. One that has a familiar error, in fact. Precisely. We found another piece of broken glass on the floor in Mr. Osogi's cabin. As you can see, the two pieces fit together perfectly. Oh no. So, Ms. Pavlova, shall we consider what this tells us? Mr. Osogi stepped on your cat and killed it. And you took revenge on him by breaking his neck. Why would it be that part of his glass object, which was evidently broken at the scene of the victim's death, should be found in a wastepaper basket in your cabin? Yeah. You're well acquainted with this glass bell, are you not? I don't. I don't know, and that hushed Russian accent of yours won't save you this time, dear girl. Why? Because spotlight. Conclusive evidence linking you to the bell in question. What? Take it away, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes. The evidence linking Miss Pavlova in a little glass bell, that would be with a photo.
Yes!
If you look at this photograph, you can clearly see, hanging from darkest color, the very glass bell in question. The truth has caught up with you, Miss Pavlova. The young man who lost his life last night did so after a truly inauspicious fall. Kind of a stupid way to die, actually. And the cause of that fateful stumble? Your absent feline friend, Darka. No, I am defeated. I am melting. No. I couldn't tell anyone. I'm sorry. Death by tripping over a cat. Elementary. So the real murderer is a cat. Why don't you tell us now, Miss Pavlova? Tell us exactly what happened last night. How did your cat kill Kazuma? It was a little after 1 in the morning. It was so late, but I hadn't had time to feed Darka, so I gave her some food. And then, all of a sudden, She scratched me and jumped out of my hands. People do say that cats become very anxious and nervous in new environments. She was so fast, she disappeared through the ventilator before I could stop her. And that is how you acquired the rather nasty wound on the back of your hand, I take it. Yes. And I had read the, rules on the wall. I knew that I was not allowed Darka with me. Yes, modern science suggests that animals can carry infectious diseases. It's a precaution, really. And now you are infected with the dumb disease. I'm sorry. So I listened and listened, trying to hear if there was some noise in the next cabin. It was very quiet. I was sure someone was there. He must be sleeping. So at that point, you thought it safe to try and lure the kitten back again? By dangling the end of the toy through the ventilator and into the adjoining cabin. Darka always loved this toy, but it didn't work, nothing worked. I tried using her favorite toy. I tried whistling to her softly, but nothing. She didn't return. So the faint whistling sound Kazuma heard about in the diary was Miss Pablo trying to retrieve her pet, okay? Cats have a propensity to remain hidden in the shadows when frightened. Yeah, so there was nothing else I could do. I just had to wait until she had calmed down. But then... Meow! Ugh. Kazuma died a really stupid death. I nearly passed out with shock. I heard her cry out and then... Oh, it was such a dreadful bang. And afterwards, nothing. It was totally silent. Kazuma was... From the appearance of the brown mark on the floor, it seems likely that what you heard was the victim stepping on the glass bell and tripping up. Yes, as Burya is a large vessel, but even she can pitch and roll violently without warning. If Mr. Ryunosuke was already off balance as a result of the ship lurching when the kitten got under his feet, a combination of unfortunate factors could easily have caused him to fall over and die like a little bitch. But what became of the kitten afterwards? I believe it came squished into shoe polish. In the end, I managed to get her to come back through the ventilator. Yet Darka is nowhere to be seen. I must have forgotten to lock my case. And now she disappeared again. Gracious, that cat is as insufferably restless as I am. Well, he knows something about himself, at least. When I woke this morning, I heard that a young man in the cabin next to mine had died, but I couldn't bring myself to tell anyone what had happened. I was too scared. Scared that they would send me back. Oh, hold on a minute. What about the snake? You're right. Where is it? If the snake isn't your friend, Miss Pablo, then whose is it? And where did it come from? What on earth is such a dangerous creature doing on board the ship? Oh, I did not say. Snake is my friend. His name is Ryunosuke. What? What? That snake belongs to you? He escaped from the cage when the emergency alarm sounded. I was looking for him. I did not expect to find him in here. Yes, how did that snake get into this cabin? But animals are not permitted on board. Oh, we were at sea for 1 year. You want to be so long without close friend? without someone who understands. Only the snake understands me. Couldn't you find someone a little more human who understands you better? But my dear burly fellow, a gargantuan venomous snake? Surely you can appreciate the dangers you're putting everyone in. No venom. Ryunosuke did not have venom. He is harmless, very long but very gentle. He is adorable like Granny. It's venomous. Yes, now he is hungry, so he is in bad mood. Once I feed him, you will see big smile. As repels smile, you know. And you feed him what? Milk, I suppose? No. No, he ate the cat. Oh, like they say when they milk chickens. Ridiculous. Snakes measuring milk are only in stupid stories. Ryunosuke eats mouses. Big fat, round mouses. Ah, oh. So, is that what the mousetrap in the passageway out there was for? Of course. How else can I catch my friend's favorite food? Nothing serves top of the food chain like the look in their eyes right now. Mr. Sholmes has lost his eyes. His eyes have disappeared into the void. It refuses to drink milk. It can't hear a whistle. It can't climb up a bell cord. And it's not even venomous. How the deuce did something so inept land a starring role? It's not my fault. I do not make up stories. My Ryunosuke has nothing to do with this incident. So that's what happened. That's the truth behind my best friend's tragic death. He died like a moron. Kazuma, your coolness factor has just gone down a bit. You stepped on a cat and you broke your neck. A very inglorious way to die. But hey, can we all agree now that Ryunosuke is not a suspect anymore? Can we at least all agree on that now? Miss Pavlova. I understand the difficult situation you found yourself in, and I do sympathize. But please remember this. A young man lost his life. If you're going to attempt to cover up your guilt with lies, then no matter what the circumstances, I cannot forgive you. But what are you talking about, Miss Mikotoba? What lies? Miss Pavlova just confessed everything. It was just a series of unfortunate events, an accident. Right, but who tried to frame Ryunosuke? Who wrote a wardrobe on the floor in Russian? We haven't really figured that out yet. I'm no great detective like Mr. Sholmes. I don't have a gift for knowing the truth. But even I can see that was not the truth. Don't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? It's not the whole truth. To be perfectly honest, yes. There's a discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure of it. I just can't quite put my finger on it. Also the fact that everybody has a headache, and supposedly we're gassed. Haven't really figured out what that has to do with anything yet. I confess, I was intending to let Scotland Yard deal with any outstanding issues on this matter. Oh? we're still quite a ways away from that, you know. I am only present here for a very specific reason. The truth is, you, Mr. Naruhodo, are simply a distraction. A distraction? I do hope you've not been finding your shackles too uncomfortable. Not... Dude, come on, we already know he didn't do it. Why did you put the shackles back on? Especially as they're on your wrist as a result of my intervention. I was rather hoping I could resolve matters before we made our next port call. You were, Mr. Sholmes? Yes, but I overlooked one important detail. The deceased young man was a very close companion of yours. Was he not? Yes. Kazuma was my closest friend. I owed him my freedom, even. In that case, we must follow this to its conclusion. No further distractions. You must uncover the real truth here, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, whatever that may be. The key to this is the discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure. If I can chase that down, maybe the truth will become clear. The truth about how you really died. About how that scene in your cabin really came to be. Alright, I'll see what I can do. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, Miss Naruhodo. You know, you could thank me by taking the shackles off. So then, shall we begin? Yes. What we should ponder first is the victim who lost his life in a cabin that was bolted shut from the inside. Not necessarily. Was this truly an unfortunate accident? Or was it in fact no accident at all? That is what we must establish in the first instance. But we've already established it, haven't we? The man tripped over the kitten that had climbed into his cabin via the ventilator. Tragic, yes, but still an accident.
Hold it!
Wait, let's just take a step back. It doesn't make sense, but if that's really what happened, does it? I'm going to have to ask you to spell it out for me, I'm afraid. I'm a little slow on these things. Yes, it's starting to take shape now. There's a clear contradiction between the facts and Miss Pavlova's story here. The evidence is right there in Kazuma's cabin. It's undeniable. His death couldn't possibly have been a mere accident. Really? Let us show our hand, Mr. Naruhodo. Time to present the evidence. The evidence that proves unequivocally that the victim's death was no mere accident. I'm gonna go with the photo.
Yes!
The truth is clearly recorded in this photographic print. There's no way that Mr. Ryunosuke... Oof, excuse me. There's no way that Mr. Ryunosuke could have left this message on the floor. That script, it's Russian, isn't it? Why, yes it is. Indeed it is. The words written mean wardrobe. I see what you mean. Most people would leave a dying message in their native language, Japanese in this case, or, you know, better yet, when they don't have a broken neck. But maybe he was studying Russian. It is a simple language. He could have picked it up very fast. That doesn't seem likely. That's actually not the point. It makes no difference whether he knew Russian or not. Sorry, what do you mean? Exactly what I said before. There is no way that Mr. Ryunosuke could have left this message on the floor. His freaking neck was broken. And the reason why is clearly explained in here. Damage to the cervical vertebrae resulting in instant death. Instant death, which is instant, you know, like immediate. Ah. Which means, after the victim fell to the floor, he couldn't possibly have written anything, because he was already dead. That's not the only reason either. There's something else we found in Mr. Asogi's cabin. A remnant of something that couldn't possibly have been there, if what Miss Pavlova told us was true. What? So Suzaru-san noticed it too, then. Putting this message on the floor aside, there's something else that gives the truth away. Another piece of evidence that proves this with no accident. In other words, I'm gonna go with, probably the ship's log. Let's make sure there's nothing else here.
Yes!
What point are you trying to make with that evidence? Trying to see how Kazuma's death really happened, I think. I think that you are starting to see nothing of the sort. And that was the evidence to prove it. Okay. Okay, that was not it. There's no accident. What should we be looking... And what we should be looking for is one of two things. Either the absence of something you would expect to find at the scene of the accident, or the presence of something you wouldn't. Must convincingly put, my dear madame. Ah, I see. I think, maybe. I don't know. I can measure how languid I see doesn't fill me with confidence, Mr. Naruhodo. Don't worry, Mr. Naruhodo, I believe in you. Well, more than Mr. Sholmes does anyway. I don't actually know. I don't see no here. I mean, I was gonna say that, like, everybody just kind of seemed to be completely out of it after 2 a.m. I mean, that would certainly indicate that there's some sort of foul play involved. But apparently I can't present that. So... let's review scene. The seal?
Yes!
And... Is the floor marked?
Yes!
Okay, it's the floor marked. But I thought we already explained this, though. This piece of broken glass next to the mark on the floor. But that's the glass bell the kitten had around its neck. We already know all about that. It was broken in half when the victim tripped over the cat and fell. So we already have satisfactory explanation. Where's the flaw in the logic? Unfortunately, there is a very big flaw. A fatal flaw. What? If that's really what happened, then how did one half of the bell end up back here in this cabin? Oh yeah, true. I didn't... Yeah, okay, yeah, I remember thinking about that a while ago, and like, I forgot about it. It didn't come up again. So, I thought it was irrelevant. Like, okay, no, it's not irrelevant. Ah. Yes, remember that we found the other half of the glass bell in that waste paper basket. Would you care to explain that, Miss Pavlova? Oh no. Both these pieces of evidence clearly point to the same conclusion. That when Mr. Asogi died last night in this cabin, there was someone else in the room. And that same person deliberately arranged the scene to disguise the truth, in order to cover up his or her own guilt. Yeah. Yes, there was someone else present in Mr. Asogi's... Hold it! You are wasting time. Someone else was there? Duh, of course, we know this. What are you talking about? Bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. There was no way in or out, unless the door was already open. Oh, yes. And only other person in cabin when young student died was you.
Yes!
Yes, I mean, no. Well, yes, it's true. I was in the cabin when it happened. You were shut inside the cabin wardrobe, to be precise about the details. But I don't know Russian. But I don't know Russian. There's no way I would have left that message. Besides, I was sealed in. Not would have. There's no way you could have left that message, to be precise about the details. Would you mind? Forgive me, my dear fellow. As I was saying, the person in question wrote the word wardrobe in Russian on the floor, in an attempt to incriminate me for the crime, even though I had been asleep there the whole time. And then the same person picked up the broken glass bell that had fallen on the floor, for fear of it becoming evidence that would show how Mr. Asogi really died. But they kind of left the other piece behind. But why wouldn't this person have taken all the pieces of the bell anyway? Leaving half behind was always going to raise questions. Yes, well, it was past 1 o'clock in the early hours of the morning. The cabin would have been quite dark. The single, small lamp suspended from the ceiling would barely have cast any light onto the floor there, even though it's kind of like right underneath it. And directly underneath the lamp, it would not have seen anything. Little wonder then that the culprit failed to notice a fragment of the tiny item, directly underneath the lamp. You all suspect me, don't you?
Hold it!
Told it! Snake gone. Seaman Stroganoff. Nina is woman of sea. She is daughter of strong sailor. 2 years ago, they noticed her dancing skills, and she went away to join ballet company. But before, she was dancer on the ship, a member of ship's band. We have a band, you know. Did you not know this? You do not accuse ship's angel of being criminal. Ah, so that's it. You say that when young student died, Nina was there in his cabin. But that is not possible. I give my tooth. I swear my tooth on this. Well, this is all most interesting. And why would you give your tooth, pray? How can you be so sure? You are a great detective. You should know. Look through with an eyes. Cabin bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. Nobody could go into cabin. Not Nina, not anyone. Unless door was open already and ship was locked. Or do you want to tell me that killer can walk through locked doors? Yet, it's impossible. Yeah, he's right. But wait, I've read about this in detective stories. People often tie thread around door latches so they can open and close them from the outside. Didn't you already say that was not possible before, Susato? Why are you bringing that up again? Thread, are you stupid? Stupid little girl. These bulkheads are not barn doors. Certainly not. These are watertight doors, as one would expect to find on any modern steamship. Constructed of heavy steel, with not a gap in sight. No threads or needles or magnets would have been used. You wouldn't normally use watertight doors for cabins, you know, they're usually used to separate sections of the ship. You wouldn't use a watertight door for a cabin. I'm just saying. It's kind of excessive for a cabin. That's all. No, of course not. I thought so too. But Mr. Naruhodo suggested it earlier, so... But you already said it wasn't possible, but you brought it up again anyway. Why did you do that? Suzawa-san, how could you shift it to me like that? You're throwing me under the bus. So Seaman Stroganoff has a valid point. The cabin door couldn't have been bolted shut from the outside. Not necessarily. What? I put it to you that I could bolt this cabin door without laying a finger on it. And in this very cabin, we can see the traces of the method I have in mind having been used before. I don't believe it. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, I believe you know what I mean, don't you? We shut the bolt of the cabin door from the outside. Yes, I know. One way does spring to mind, yes. Do you really know what Mr. Sholmes means, Mr. Naruhodo? We just saw it happening here, Susato. You know what happens. Yes, and so should you. Stop playing dumb, Susato. Because we've seen it happen just a bit ago. Indeed we have. So, would you care to do the honors, Mr. Naruhodo? As long as you take the handcuffs off me. When at the telltale sign, the method used to... Okay, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that will be the bookshelf. Bookshelf. No. Is this like not gonna highlight anything? I'm gonna go with the bookshelf, but it's not highlighting anything.
Yes!
I'm just gonna have to assume that's correct. Okay, yeah, bookcase. Alright. See how the books and things on it have toppled over? That must have happened when the ship made its emergency stop before. Yes, that's right. It's a very powerful vessel after all. When the engines are thrown into reverse, a violent jolt goes across the entire ship. Any small objects that aren't fastened down are bound to fall over. I believe, yes, it's what's known as the force of inertia acting on the objects. Is there nothing Suzato-san doesn't know? Or that isn't in her book, at least. Well, whatever it's called, the same force that pushed over those books on the bookcase also made something else in this cabin move. The bolt on the cabin door. Ah. It was very obvious just after the emergency stop that the ship made earlier. He had come to his cabin not long before and we hadn't bolted the door. But then... Hello, is anybody in there? Shout that you need assistance. Oh, that sounds like Inspector Osanaga. I got the voice wrong entirely. Oh yes. That's it. When the ship stopped suddenly, the bolt flew across and locked the door. Yes, it's made of metal, but it's small and light enough to be moved by the ship's sudden change of speed. Or the force of ineptia, if you... What? Are you trying to say that last night, after Mr. Osogi was killed, ineptia killed him? The SS Burya made another emergency stop? When I woke up this morning and looked around the cabin, I thought it looked a little odd. All the books on the shelves had toppled over, and all the ornaments. It was almost as if someone had run their hand across the shelves and deliberately knocked everything over. Oh yes, I remember that. I straightened the books out too. And I stood them all up again, didn't I? Then when we came to this cabin, we were surprised to see the same thing in here. All the books and everything had toppled over, just like in Mr. Osogi's cabin. Oh my. Do you have anything to say about this, Miss Pavlova? Are you out of your mind? Did you say Burya made emergency stop? It does seem a little far-fetched. How could that possibly have happened? Unless you're saying that the culprit is actually someone from the engine room. Oh, it is simple enough. Are you forgetting the button in the passageway outside? Used to trigger the emergency alarm. Oh yes, of course. There was a notice, wasn't there, telling you only to press the button in times of emergency. On dark nights when the fog is dense, the captain cannot afford to rely on the eyes of his lookout alone. Hence, the placement of a number of buttons around the vessel to allow any crewman to raise the alarm. Or any passenger could probably do it too, I guess. The sort of button one is almost compelled to press to satisfy one's curiosity. Wait, it was you? When the button is pressed, two things happen in the interest of safety. The emergency alarm bell rings, and the vessel comes to a complete stop. As indeed it did a little earlier today. Mr. Sholmes, surely it wasn't you who... As I always say, a button has but one purpose in life. To be pressed. To be pressed! Whatever the occasion. He sounds almost proud of himself. How dare you mess with ship? I report you to Captain. You are in much trouble now. Now, I'm sure all that can wait until later. Let us not overlook the fact that we have now learnt a valuable lesson. When the vessel makes an emergency stop, the bolts on the cabin doors slide closed. When you think about it, it is kind of a bit of a safety hazard to have the doors automatically lock like that when there is an emergency. I mean, what if there was a fire aboard? Somebody would hit the emergency stop and then all the doors would become locked. That would be kind of unfortunate for people if they didn't understand how to open the doors. So, what we must now consider... Yes. It all comes down to one thing now. Last night, after what happened to Mr. Osogi, did this ship make an emergency stop, or did it not? You are idiots. Burya is a huge ship with many passengers. If we make emergency stop even in the middle of the night, there will be chaos everywhere. What are your thoughts, Mr. Naruhodo? Well... it's certainly possible that some kind of emergency happened last night. We have evidence to support that idea. Really? What evidence, Mr. Naruhodo? Fascinating. Do show us, my good man. What evidence promotes the theory that some emergency gripped this vessel last night? It'll probably be the ship's log.
Yes!
Seaman Stroganoff. It's your duty to patrol the first-class area of the ship, isn't that right? Duh, that is correct. Why? And the ship's log here. This will be where you record the details of your duties. What are you doing with that? That is mine. Give it back. Ah, you rather carelessly left it atop the little makeshift bureau in the passageway out there. But as responsible passengers, we took it into our care with a mind to return it to you later. I left it there on purpose. That is where I put it always. The point is, looking at what you usually record, it's clear that under normal circumstances you write the phrase, "nothing to report," every 30 minutes. But from 2 o'clock last night until first light this morning, nothing was recorded at all. Nothing recorded in the log. That is... duh. Because nothing happened. But if nothing happened, you would normally write "nothing to report," wouldn't you? But I must have time to sleep, you understand. Indeed, so, which tells us that shortly after 2 a.m., something happened here aboard the SS Burya. Burya. Something sufficiently significant to make you forget to fill in the ship's log, in fact. Are you suggesting that the ship really did make an emergency stop in the middle of the night? Stop talking rubbish! If I'm perfectly honest, I find that a little hard to believe myself. Oh, why? Well, because if something as major as an emergency stop really had happened, surely all of us would have noticed. That's very true. Thanks to the emergency stop we experienced earlier, we all know what it feels like now. The ship lurched so violently, and the alarm bell was so loud. I can't imagine that anybody would sleep through that, even if it happened in the dead of night. Well, no, that's a good point. Unless we were all drugged. What of the throbbing? Yes, the throbbing. Sorry, what do you mean? Your head, man. The throbbing of your head since this morning. We have all suffered with it. Ah. Oh, yes. I have had a headache, you're right. In fact, I haven't been feeling myself since I woke up today. Nor have I. I'm accusing one of my friends of murder. My head has been feeling heavy ever since dawn. Yes, you've all been afflicted, haven't you? Just as I suspected. He's right, my head's been throbbing today too. And since eating dinner yesterday evening, everything has felt sort of hazy. Oh, were they drugged by the food? I can't really remember anything that happened after I climbed back inside the wardrobe. Well, as you know, if that was the case, why did Kazuma not fall asleep? Then the first thing I noticed this morning was the throbbing pain in my head. I had already been dragged out of the wardrobe, and had those handcuffs put on me by that point. Why didn't I wake up when all that was happening to me? Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo. You boarded this vessel as a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, well, yes. Sorry. The stowaway class of accommodation doesn't usually include meals. What did you survive on? Well, Kazuma looked after me. He was always happy to share his meals. So you enjoyed some of the whole roast chicken dish that was served yesterday evening, I take it? Yes, in fact, I had all of that. Kazuma wasn't fond of chicken. Kazuma didn't eat the chicken. Ah. Oh, really? So the victim didn't eat any of the chicken at all? That's right, he didn't touch it. Is that relevant? My dear fellow, does that not strike you? Oh, Mr. Sholmes, do you mean to say that was a sleeping chicken we ate? that puts people to sleep? That there was something wrong with the chicken? I do. No. Really? Is that really true? Maybe was the chicken actually bad and poisoned and... Oh no, the reverse is actually true. We're all dead, and Kazuma's the only one alive. We're all living in an afterlife dream world trying to figure out what happened. We're the ones who are dead. The meal prepared for the passengers last night had been tampered with. Tampered with by the addition of a soporific, designed to induce a very deep slumber in those who consumed it. A sleeping drug? Do you mean whoever did this laced every meal with a sleeping drug, so no one would notice the ship's emergency stop? Mr. Naruhodo, of course that's not what Mr. Sholmes means. What a far-fetched idea. Precisely. Lacing every meal of every passenger on board with a soporific drug would certainly be impossible. Unless, that is, every single member of the crew was a conspirator. What? Mr. Sholmes? Well, see you, man. Yeah. I'm sorry to say that any more deception in this matter will get you nowhere. If you refuse to talk, there would have to be an inquiry made through the shipping company, of course. And were that to happen, every member of the crew, and the captain himself, would be hauled over the coals. Very rough coals, and hot coals, for aiding and abetting a renegade. Ah. See, I said Shogunov was a suspect. I knew it. Please, no more. I will tell everything. Yeah. I cannot make problems like this for everyone anymore. These crewmen are your former comrades, I believe. Yes. So when I decided to run away, I asked them to help me. We all agreed to help. Everyone, together. She threw away everything. Her fame in the ballet, Mother Russia. We wanted to help our angel. I don't believe it. You are right. We put sleeping drug in chicken last night. Yes, I remember now. I did notice chewing on a lump of something strange and bitter at one point. I don't know why I didn't spit it out. So hungry. Duh. We could not make all drug. How do you say dissolve? Talk about having heavy seasoning. At midnight, in waters near Shanghai, we brought our angel on board. She was helped by a comrade on shore with small fishing boat. While all the passengers of the SS Burya slept soundly. Thanks to the almost magical effects of the slumber-inducing potion their evening meals had contained. So, that's what happened. The only people awake on the ship last night were the crew, people who disliked chicken, and the newly boarded passenger, Miss Pavlova. And that means it would have been possible for you. You could have used the emergency stop trick to lock Kazuma's cabin door. how does that make sense? Surely every cabin door would have ended up locked in that case, and there would have been complete chaos. Also, she might have locked the door to her cabin. She wouldn't be able to get back in. Just kind of, unless her door was propped open. Oh, I wouldn't say so. What? Ah, of course. Just like us, all the other passengers would have eaten their evening meal of chicken in their cabins, after which they would have been overwhelmed by tiredness because of the sleeping drug. Quite. And accordingly, all passengers were already in their cabins for the night. Yes. The overwhelming majority of passengers would habitually sleep with their cabin doors bolted anyway. And so not one of them would have found it remarkable to find the door locked in the morning. In summary, in order to fasten the bolt of a single cabin door on the ship, the culprit brought the entire vessel to an emergency stop in the early hours of the morning. As we just been explaining, yes. You have talked long time and said many things. What is point? The point is what I said earlier. There was somebody else present on the scene when the victim lost his life last night. Someone who left a message in Russian on the floor in an attempt to incriminate another. Someone who tried desperately to hide the broken fragments of glass that would reveal the culprit's identity. And someone who abused the ship's emergency stop procedure in order to lock a door. All told, a busy night. But, I don't know about any of this. I'm just a little girl. You like to speak with your long English words and explain your clever ideas. But I am sailor. I am sailor man. And sailors don't listen to long, boring stories. We don't believe. We don't believe in anything. Sailors like me, we trust only what we see with our own eyes. A laudable trait. What? I am quite of the same disposition, my good man. Observation to me is everything. Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, yes? Do you hear it? The accusatory cry of guilt on the wind. What accusatory cry of guilt? Sorry, you've lost me. Proof of involvement, man. But you can't hear such a call with your ears. No, you must hear it with your eyes. For observation is the basis of all deduction. What are you talking about? I believe a time has come. For one final logic and reasoning spectacular, to expose the truth, part 3. So, Mr. Naruhodo, your assistance, if you please. With what exactly, Mr. Sholmes? With observation, my dear fellow, just as I said. Of these two prevaricators. Observation? If you remember, Mr. Naruhodo, we know that somebody tried to fabricate evidence, don't we? By tampering with the scene of Mr. Asogi's death, like I did when I rearranged those books. What we're looking for is some trace of that evidence that one of these two was there when it happened. Precisely. You are delightfully quick to grasp my meaning. Alright, see what I can see. So we're looking for a trace of evidence that shows someone else was there last night when Kazuma died. What suggests that someone else was there at the scene? Alright, let's look around. Chunky arms. Let's examine chunky arms. His arms like tree trunks, doesn't he? Hairy tree trunks. Sailor's arm. He's got sailor's arm. He's a man of the sea. Then Mike, I wouldn't have done anything but drag out a wardrobe. Listen, you alright? You seem to be lost in thought. Are you enjoying the sight of this man's big burly arms? I suggest someone else was at the scene. Her ear? Yes, with petite ears and then that beautiful hair, little pink shells. Something attached to her ear. Ah, I expected what's called an ear ring. It's more like a little ear clip, actually, on her ear here. The earring's on the other ear. Which does make me wonder why she only had one earring. I wonder if that's relevant. That's part of it is missing. Maybe it broke off. So now what's left is the clasp part attached to the ear. If that's the case, she doesn't appear to have noticed that it's broken. Like, I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to be looking for here. Sailor's hat? Can I lift your hat up? I know something significant about Seaman Stroganoff's hat. No, sadly not. I was thinking about if we only found it in Kazuma's cabin, it would all be so easy. That's true, a hat dropped at the scene would have been very conclusive evidence. Ah, that's a point. I'm sure I saw your university uniform hat at the scene somewhere. That is not a point, at least not one I'd like you to make. Sailor's hat. Oh, ink. He's got ink on his back. It was you. Oh, look at this. Some kind of stain in an unusual place. Yes, you're right. Looks like ink, if I'm not mistaken. Ink. Yummy. Sounds like evidence. Look at the color, too. It's clear where this came from.
Yes!
It was you. Seaman Stroganoff. You seem to have quite a large purple stain on the back of your white uniform there. Eh? Oh yes, I don't know where the dirt comes from. So nothing in particular comes to mind about the stain. What are you trying to say? It would appear that the significance of the stain has escaped your attention, Seaman. Allow us to make it plain. And prove your guilt. It's a very large purple stain on the back of Seaman Stroganoff's uniform. And I think what made it is clear. Indeed it is. So, Mr. Naruhodo, present the evidence that proves it. My pleasure. Alright then, the evidence that proves what that stain on the back of Seaman Stroganoff's uniform really is. It's purple jelly. Yeah, I guess I had to present the photo.
Yes!
Yes! It's this photograph, and the ink it shows. That's what caused the stain on your uniform. Ink. I do not know what ink is. A rather unusual color of ink. Purple. Ugh. Ah, the penny drops, at last. Now you see the significance. And the Russian word on the floor next to the victim's... the Russian word on the floor next to the victim's body was written in purple ink. And the stain on the back of your uniform is ink of exactly the same color. If the ink had been dry, it couldn't possibly have stained your uniform that way. Which means... you must have been present in the cabin, in the moments immediately after the ink was spilt. Alright. Yes. You got me. I did it. I spilled the ink. I was looking for ink. I really wanted to have some ink because it is so delicious and tasty. It was me. I did it. Everything. I arranged everything in dead student's cabin to make it look like Wardrobe Man did it. Then I pressed button to make Burya do emergency stop and bolt cabin door. I did everything so no one would suspect our Angel. Biff, please. Don't worry, Angel. Let me do talking. It was after 1 in the morning. I was on duty patrolling passageway. And then our Angel came to me. She was white like sheet. Biff, please. You must help me. I went with her. The door to cabin number 1 was open. When I looked inside, I saw a student boy on floor. He died like an idiot. Well, what happened here? Please, don't tell anyone. My little one, my little furry friend, murdered a man. This can't be true. Everything that happened in cabin is like Angel told you. The kitten escaped through the ventilator into Mr. Asogi's cabin. Then he tripped over it and broke his neck when he fell to the floor. Yes, that is right. So after the incident, when the cat ran away, Miss Pavlova then visited the cabin next to hers, only to find its occupant lying lifeless on the floor. She said she was worried when she heard sound of something falling on the floor. That's when she went to look. No, Angel? The door was not locked, so she opened to look, and you already know what happened after. There's just one thing, if you wouldn't mind. What? When you went to Mr. Asogi's cabin, Miss Pavlova, was he already dead? Why? I already told you. When Nina opened door of student's cabin, I looked inside. I was asking Miss Pavlova, not you, you big lud. Well, Miss Pavlova? Duh. Oh. Yes, that is right. I saw him. It was dark and he was wearing black, but he was on the floor, not moving. I was scared. I understand. And I believe you. So is that finally it now? Have we discovered the real truth about Kazuma's death at last? Ah, something very nearly slipped my mind. Oh, Mr. Sholmes? This photograph? Yes, I took this myself, you know. The cause of death was a broken neck, therefore the victim died instantly. And the unfortunate incident that precipitated these events? A kitten, on which the victim stumbled. However, if those are the facts, there is one particular area in this photograph that seems to be somewhat unnatural. Is there? What do you mean, unnatural? Explain what this word means. What are your thoughts on the matter, Mr. Naruto? Oh, well, don't know what you're talking about. If Kazuma tripped and fell, and by some terrible stroke of bad luck broke his neck, which part of this photograph or print seems unnatural? I'm not really sure. Not really sure. The only thing I can think of is that maybe it would have been more likely he would have broken his neck if he fell backwards. And like he fell backwards and hit his head when he fell, and although that would have been more likely to cause cranial injury actually, but falling forward would probably have not necessarily broken your neck. Maybe, I don't, it depends on. Because I'm not really sure in which way he would have fell. Unless you... I have to save again. I'm not really 100, well, not really certain here. I'm assuming it's the position of the body. Like, it would have been more likely he fell backwards and broke his neck.
Yes!
This must be yours, surely, I guess. Allow me to offer you a piece of advice regarding the pursuit of detection, my dear fellow. When noting a crucial point, it can be helpful to keep your eyes open. They were open. I'm guessing that wasn't it. It will help us use them. Okay. Sorry, I'll try again, because I don't really know which one to pick here. The game doesn't highlight anything, so I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to be pointing out here. Crash detail was orchestrated by the culprit. No, I mean to identify another point. Imagine, if you will, losing your footing yourself. Would you land as the victim had? What of your hands? You look like the sort of fellow who stumbles with some regularity. It should be an easy task. Why do I? Kazuma tripped and fell, and by some terrible stroke of bad luck broke his neck. The reference seems unnatural. The finger pointing, maybe, but that could have been arranged by the person trying to blame. The word in Russian clearly wasn't written by Kazuma. So looking for something unnatural, that's the obvious point. Very true. It is certainly peculiar, but it's not what I meant by unnatural, I'm afraid. That we crashed was also about a culprit. I mean to identify another point. Oh, I see. Imagine, if you will, losing your footing yourself. In my opinion, if you landed as the victim appears done here, it would be most unnatural. I'm sure you reached the same conclusion. I'll fought for you are, Mr. Sean. Thank you for looking. I'm still not sure what the game wants me to point out here. His other hand? His fist?
Yes!
Alright, if he really fell due to an unfortunate accident, then his fist just doesn't seem quite right. Wow, that was like super out there. I would not have even thought that would have been really that important, but okay. The exact same thought occurred to me. In a fall, one's instinct is to open the palms flat, assuming he fell forwards, not backwards. Yet here we see the victim with his left hand tightly balled into a fist. Almost, you might say, as though he were gripping something. What do you mean? Simply that I took the liberty of investigating the victim's fist a short while ago, You did, and you didn't tell us? When did you do this? And what, pray, do you imagine I found there, my dear fellow? The missing earring, I imagine? Mr. show us tell. Why, of course, my dear madame. Why would I keep you in suspense? Yep, the missing earring. This is what I found. Oh, a crescent moon with a little gemstone in the middle. Yes, you're right, a crescent moon. It's very pretty, but what does it tell us? It tells us nothing. I'm not so sure. That crescent moon looks very familiar. It looks familiar somehow. I'm sure I've seen it somewhere before, like on a girl's ear. Observation, Mr. Naruhodo. That is the key. What? The truth is now tantalizingly close. How did the crescent moon come to be in Kazuma's clenched fish? Clenched fish. Clenched fist. This is the final clue, the last piece of the puzzle. Ask yourself, what does that little crescent moon mean? What significance has it? And observe, find the answer with your own eyes. Yes. Wait, look, it's a crescent moon. No doubt now, surely.
Yes!
Guess that's presented here. Miss Pavlova, on your ear there. I see you have a crescent moon as well. Ah. What? And on your other ear, there seems to be a crescent moon missing. The little link holding it on must have broken, I suppose. Now, the missing crescent moon was found in the victim's clenched fist, not his fish. Clearly, there is only one logical conclusion. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. Miss Pavlova, Mr. Asogi must have grasped that crescent moon and pulled it from your ear, perhaps just a moment before he fell to the floor. In other words, last night in Mr. Asogi's cabin, you witnessed the moment when the victim fell with your own eyes. In fact, you were quite literally at arm's length from him. But then the question is, why did Mr. Asogi do that? Why did he pull your earring from your ear and hold it in his clenched fist during his final moments? He was really attracted to it and found it really pretty, and he really, really wanted it, so he grabbed it and yanked it off your ear. Oh no. Angel? No one can protect you now. Please, Miss Pavlova, tell us the truth. Last night, what did you do to Kazuma? You went into his room to sleep with him, but instead you killed him. Because he stepped on your cat. When I think about everything that happened yesterday, it was too much. Running away, the fishing boat in the middle of the night, trying to climb onto this huge... Oh, that's her. Trying to climb onto this huge ship. And then, when I was at last in this cabin, then I could relax after this horrible long day. Meow! Daka, wait! I couldn't believe it when she disappeared through the ventilator. I tried to call her with a little whistle. I tried waving her favorite toy. But nothing worked. Darker would not come back. What are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector? Hmm? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine. The young man from your country. He was very polite and kind. He helped me find Darka, and he promised not to tell anyone. But then, when I had my friend in my arms again, and I was going to leave the man's cabin... Just a moment. Sorry, but... Oh, yes? I'm sure I know your face. I've seen you somewhere before. Ah, of course. You're Nikolina Pavlova, aren't you? The Russian ballerina.
No, I don't know that name. My heart nearly stopped when he said that. He knew who I was. How could this man from a land in faraway east know a Russian ballerina? It's inconceivable.
Yes, I saw your performance in Japan. The beauty of the ballet made a deep impression on me. But what are you doing on this ship? I'm sure I read that your ballet company was performing in Shanghai at the moment.
I can't fool him. I have to tell him the truth, and hope he doesn't tell anyone. I have no other choice.
I see. So you've run away.
Please keep my secret. Don't tell anyone.
Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here.
He's going to pull that cord. He's going to tell the captain. Why did I think I could trust him? I thought everybody on the ship already knew I was on here. Why am I worried that the captain would know? Doesn't everybody on the ship already know she's on here?
I mean, really. Unless the captain really doesn't know, and he's like been drugged with the sleeping chicken also. Whatever.
Then it happened. Everything at once. He stepped on my cat, and I got angry, so I killed him and broke his neck. It was only for a second, but it felt like forever. Wait, I shouted, and then... Meow! Darky jumped out of my arms and down to the young man's feet. And he stepped on my cat. I got angry. As he turned around to look at me. I pushed him. I don't even know why. I don't know why I did it. I was just so scared. And I had to stop him from telling anyone about me.
And that's when you went to fetch help. From Seaman Stroganoff, who was on duty out in the passageway. I heard Nina cry out and thud on floor, so I ran to her. She was standing at cabin door, shaking like leaf. She looked at me and said, "Help me, Biff."
Help me, Biff. You're my only hope. If they find out, I will be... Please, I have nowhere to go.
So you decided to help. And that's when you arranged things in Kazuma's cabin to make it look like I did it. So that no one would suspect the passenger in the cabin next door. Yes. I went into cabin, and I looked around to make sure there was nothing to show Nina was there. And then I found Stowaway, in wardrobe, still sleeping. Right, that's when he found me. So you worked out a plan to lay the blame on the Stowaway. I closed wardrobe doors and put back strange paper sign. Luckily for me, That's the only reason Suzato-san started to believe me when I said I was innocent. I dragged young man's body to a good place, and used ink that was spilling to write on floor. I wrote, so that person who found him would look inside wardrobe and find stowaway. And tell me, what of the glass bell? It was by my feet, so I picked it up. I see. But it was dark in the cabin. I didn't notice the other half. And then Angel went back to her cabin, and I finished job by pressing the emergency alarm button in the passageway. Yes. Accordingly, the SS Burya did indeed come to an emergency halt at a little after 2 a.m., thus enticing the bolt on the cabin door to slide shut, creating the locked room mystery. There's still one thing I don't understand, Miss Pavlova. Where is the cat? What? Well, you said you told Kazuma about the fact that you'd run away from your homeland, and it's because you were worried he was going to tell the captain that you pushed him. Oh wait, no wait. You were afraid he was, no. What did he just say? Well, you said that Kazuma, you said that you told Kazuma about the fact that you'd run away, and it's because you were worried he was going to tell the captain that you pushed him. No, I thought she was worried that he was going to tell the captain about her being on board. Because he was already dead after she pushed him. Why did Ryunosuke say that? That was a little bit out of order there. Yes. But even if he had pulled the bell cord and called for the captain of the ship, aren't you friends with every member of the crew? Yes, like I pointed out. Why would that have been a problem? It was what he said first. It made me scared. What he said first? What are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector? Oh, he said there was an inspector on board. Oh. I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine. He said an inspector was his friend. Ah, yes, meaning me, who was supposed to be acting as his bodyguard. I thought that if police knew about me, they would arrest me. So before he could pull the bell cord, May I stop you a moment, please, Miss Pavlova? It just doesn't seem to make sense. I mean, was Mr. Asogi really going to pull the bell cord? I don't know. What? What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, I think he was going to ask Ryunosuke. I don't think he was going for the bell cord. Well, I'm not Kazuma, so I can't know for certain, but... he was a man of his word. If he told you he wouldn't give your secret away, then he wouldn't have done so. No, he was walking over to it. He was going to pull the bell cord. I saw him. He was going to make them send me back. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, the day's work is not yet done, it seems. There is one more deduction to make. What? Another deduction? Oh, my monitor fell asleep. Back up. There we go. Yes. What action was the victim really about to take at that moment? Can we determine whether the young man's gaze was directed? Whither? First, consider the victim's location within his cabin.
That's easy. I remember every detail of that room. I mean, yes, I spent quite a lot of time in the wardrobe, but still. That cabin has been my home for this entire voyage. So this is how the cabin looked last night when Miss Pavlova visited Kazuma-sama. Yes, it's exactly how it was.
Are you ready then, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, if there's one thing I've learned today, it's that a simple gaze can reveal all manner of truths. And not only that, in order to draw the right conclusion, you can't afford to be out by even a little bit when you're following the gaze where it lands. So, when he turned away from Miss Pavlova, what exactly was Kazuma looking at?
The wardrobe, obviously.
The wardrobe. My wardrobe. I was in there at the time, of course, sleeping soundly. Too soundly. If only I hadn't eaten that chicken that was laced with the sleeping drug, all this could have been avoided. If only he'd woken me up. Then maybe this tragedy would never have happened.
Take that!
The wardrobe.
Considering everything that had happened last night, certainly it may have looked as though Kazuma was going to ring the bell cord. Actually, if the cat climbed down the bell cord, wouldn't that pull the bell cord too? I don't know. Yes, however, what is directly beside the bell cord? The wardrobe. The wardrobe? What is that? And more importantly, what was inside the wardrobe? The man's great friend, sleeping soundly. Miss Pavlova, please think back very carefully. What were Mr. Osogi's exact words last night? Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here. Another opinion? Yes, but not from a member of the crew. No, Mr. Osogi intended to consult his close friend on the matter. To see if, between them, they might be able to help in some way, no doubt. Oh no. Sadly, we can't know the truth for certain now. It's too late for that. But I wish you had made sure what Mr. Osogi was looking at. Things may have ended very differently, if you had. Miss Pavlova, I want to thank you for finally admitting the truth. But, unfortunately, the truth is, a man lost his life because of what you did. And that will never change. I hope you'll never forget that. Because you're going to prison in Hong Kong. I'm sorry. Really, I'm so sorry. What have I done? I did murder. And so, at long last, the mystery surrounding the tragic accident on the SS Burya was finally laid to rest. Finally. What will happen to Miss Pavlova now, then? Once she reaches Great Britain, she'll be handed over to the British police at Scotland Yard. And what about the fact that she ran away from Russia? Won't the Russians try to repatriate her? Apparently, the English detective can speak to the immigration office and sort all that out. Mr. Sholmes can do all that? Okay. So she won't be going back to Russia then? No, I don't think so.
Even if she wanted to return in the future, I doubt she would be able to. She ran away, so now she's in exile for life. Because you know, it just works that way. I see. I'm sorry. Seaman Stroganoff. I wanted to help our angel, no matter what. But I didn't think about you, about how you lost a good friend. I will go with Nina. I will give myself to British police. That's kind of you. In the meantime, thank you for letting me go free again. I mean, yeah, we kind of proved that I'm not the murderer here. Kazuma's death feels like such a waste, but... well, do what you can for Miss Pavlova, won't you? Duh. Well, I'm afraid you need to pack now. We're due to arrive in Hong Kong tomorrow. As much as it pains me, I'm going to have to hand you over to the consul to arrange your passage back to Japan. Yes. I did stow away, after all. I couldn't really expect any different. So, you should get back to your cabin now. I mean, it's your cabin now. It's not Kazuma's anymore because he's kind of dead. It looks like my study tour to Great Britain is over before it even begun. Then, to think that only days ago Kazuma and I were laughing together about how we'd tear up the streets of London. Why is the chicken bone still in here? Shouldn't that have been thrown away by now? That seems like a distant memory now. Oh, what's that? Is it someone weeping? Oh. Suzato-san. Naruhodo-san. I didn't know you had returned. Well, I haven't been back long. Inspector Hosonaga just told me I should pack. You know, ready to leave the ship tomorrow and all that. I still can't believe this has happened. I can't believe someone's life can be over. Just like that. Suzato-san. Dramatic moment. He had such grand ideas for his visit to Great Britain. So many dreams. And now they've been cruelly taken away. Just as he has. I thought I could never forgive the person responsible. But now we know the truth. That it was just an accident. Just a silly series of mishaps. It's too much, Naruhodo-san. It's just too much. Yes, I know. I wish there was something I could say. Oh, it's him. Inspector. My duty was to see Asogi-san safely to Great Britain. But I failed. And caused his two closest friends great pain and suffering as a result. I've let everyone down. And I would do anything to make up for my terrible blunder. Nobody blames you, Inspector. And I'm free again now at least, huh? Why am I back in chains again? Home, Sholmes! Surprise, Mr. Naruhodo. What is the meaning of this? Oh, a trifling matter. Simply that in my head I think I shall always picture you wearing those shackles. It's quite funny. Without them, the balance seems all wrong. It's distracting. Sorry. So I decided to restore them, For old time's sake, shall we say? You are a stowaway, after all. I'm losing my mind. He thinks this is funny. Mr. Sholmes. We do appreciate all your assistance. I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Not at all, not at all. And though it's a little late, may I offer my sincere condolences. The loss of your companion is truly heartrending. I hope that you will be able to fulfill some of his aspirations in his honor. I am afraid that won't be possible. We shall be disembarking at the next port, in Hong Kong. We have to return to Japan and make a full report about everything that's happened. What? Wait a minute. It's just me that has to go back, isn't it? I mean, I was the stowaway. Our mission is over, Ryunosuke. The key player is dead. We have to go back. The terms of this study tour were negotiated by the Department of Justice in both Great Britain and Japan. It was to be one lawyer and one assistant. It was to be. In the light of Mr. Asogi's unfortunate death, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead. Oh no, I don't care for me, but... Poor Suzaru-san. She was so looking forward to British fashion and tea. My dear fellows, the majority of problems have an extremely simple solution, you know. All you require is one lawyer, and the study tour can continue, surely. But there is no one else with the necessary qualifications, Mr. Sholmes. We know of no other lawyer. Qualifications, you say? Any qualifications obtained in your own country will be of little value in Great Britain, I'm afraid. Oh, but anyway, the voyage to London still promises a good month of time. Ample opportunity, I would say, to find yourselves another suitable lawyer. Yes, I'm sure we expect to find another lawyer on the ship in that time. Maybe one of the sailors will apply, or the captain will. What are you talking about, Mr. Sholmes? Make some sense, will you, dang it? Miss Suzaru. Yes? Do you think perhaps I might be able to do it? I know I'm kind of... And it's kind of a big leap of faith here, but I mean... I am pretty good at solving things, right? I mean... I could probably do it, I guess, maybe. Even though I said I didn't want to set forth in another courtroom ever again, but I'm like, but I'm pretty good at solving things, and like, oh, it's Kazuma's legacy, and it's like, oh, ah. But you're not a lawyer, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, unless, are you studying law? No, I'm not, but... I'm sorry, in that case, I don't think there's even a chance it could work. I mean, you could just say I'm studying law. But as I said, there is still more than a month before we reach England's shore. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, I have a month in which to study. To learn what I must to become a lawyer in Great Britain. I'll cram English law in 1 month. Because I'm sure we have all the books on the ship regarding English law, like right here. Mr. Naruhodo. That's ridiculous. Are you seriously suggesting anybody could learn all of that in just 40 days? There's only one way to find out. Time to cram. I will work my fingers to the bone, Inspector. Every single day. Will you let me try? And if, by the time we reach Great Britain, I haven't learned enough to be recognized as a lawyer, I'll take whatever punishment is deemed appropriate. You can chop off my fingers. But why put yourself in such a difficult position? For Kazuma. He said that there was something he had to do in Great Britain, and that he would sacrifice anything to make it happen. He was passionate about it. I can't let all that passion just come to nothing. And anyway, it's for my own benefit too. I will become a lawyer. I have to. It is my destiny, you could say. What do you say, Miss Susato? I mean, we're pretty good partners, aren't we? As long as you're not judo chopping me. I'm actually starting to like it now. Starting to like getting judo chopped and flipped by you. I think it's a wonderful idea. Thank you. So, what does our bespectacled inspector friend say? Are you serious? One lawyer and one assistant. The numbers are indisputable. No. It's madness. Yet fascinating, wouldn't you agree? Fascinating? Duty and rules are the dull routine of existence that we all abhor. Give us interest. Give us fascination. Also, it looks like you're doing pretty well. You're not dying anymore, I've noticed. Speak for yourself. Besides, qualifications are no measure of a man. What matters is his character, no? And you witnessed ample evidence of this man's exemplary character today with your own eyes. From the early hours of this morning until this very moment now. Despite contending with the passing of his close companion, and despite the accusation of guilt, this man has shown resourcefulness, intelligence, and above all, courage. Very well. I'll think of a clever way to word my report to the Department of Justice. Inspector, after all, I did just make a promise, didn't I? I said that I'd do anything at all to make up for my shortcomings here. Oh, thank you, Inspector. If you'll excuse me, I must pay a visit to the captain's quarters, I think. I need to discuss what to do next and how best to make my report. Are you really prepared to attempt this, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, I'm going to try. I wonder, would you consider teaching me what I need to know? Everything about being a lawyer. I mean, if I knew all that, I would be a lawyer. But actually, they don't really allow women to be lawyers in this time period, so I guess it has to be you. Because, you know, late 19th century. I will be delighted to help you. I am a judicial assistant after all. Thank you. And, Mr. Naruhodo, I'd like you to take charge of this. The Sword of Justice. What? Me? Are you sure? I'm sure it's what Kazuma-sama would have wanted. His name is Karuma. It's a great sword that's been in the Asogi clan for generations. Very well. I accept. I'll treasure it always. The sword of truth and justice is now mine. I will cut forth my path to the truth. Strike down every lie and contradiction in my way. In the pursuit of justice. Justice. So then, Miss Susato, it seems we'll be working together for some time to come yet.
It will be an honor, Mr. Naruhodo. And for the next 40 days, I shan't grant you a single minute of freedom. If you try to stop for just a moment, I will flip you and judo chop you in the noggin. And then I'll punch you in the dick if you fall asleep. We shall fill every spare moment with study. Yes, that's exactly what I need. I'm starting to have some doubts now about this. But, before we begin, I have an earnest favor to ask of you, too. Goodness, what is it? Please throw me to the ground. 3 times, and ravage me. You must prove you can dominate me before I can call you master. Because those are the rules. What? I should never have doubted you. You were Kazuma-sama's closest friend. Of course you would never have done anything to hurt him. That should have been obvious to me from the start. But I allowed suspicion to get the better of me. And no matter how upset I was feeling, it was completely unforgivable behavior. No, you were in shock. You just found out about me stowing away, and the cabin door was locked and No! I won't let you make excuses for me. I demand punishment. Whatever the circumstances, I should never have thrown you. And not just once, but 5 times. The number keeps creeping up, doesn't it? Please, you must. Just take hold of me and throw me. Do it. Don't even think about it. Just throw me to the ground with passion and just slam me into the floor. I deserve it. I like it. No, I don't even know how. I've never thrown anyone in my life. Very wise, Mr. Naruhodo. It isn't a skill one acquires without considerable training. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, you're still here. I didn't realize you were still here. I didn't mean you to hear all that. I observed your throwing technique several times with great interest. I confess I was most impressed. When did he see that? Oh, he sees everything. Yeah, I see everything. I presume that would be a form of Japanese wrestling. Is it judo or aikido? Is he gonna say? Oh well, in a way, it's not wrestling, but my own interpretation of an ancient jujitsu technique. It's jujitsu. I was completely wrong. Apparently, it's called the Susato Takedown. It leaves your head swimming. Believe me, I know. How beguiling. I am a practitioner of the combat of arts. Myself, I am a somewhat accomplished boxer. Would you like me to take you down? There he goes, dancing around again. I wonder if you'd be so kind as to instruct me on the technique of your arresting throw. Come on, do it. You know you want to. Yes, I'd be honored. Then let us not dally. Demonstrate, my dear madame. Oh, of course. Are you ready, Mr. Naruhodo? Sorry. Hey-ya! Judo chop. As you can see, you throw from the abdomen. Oh yes, arresting indeed. And that is what you term the Susato takedown, is it? Actually, no. That was a Susato squash. Because I squashed him. Like the puny human man-bug that he is. In my groggy state of consciousness, a scene from an evening recently spent with Kazuma flickered into my mind. Karuma. That's right. It's a prized sword that's been passed down through generations of the Asogi clan. I can't believe you managed to get permission to bring it with you. I mean, taking a katana on a study tour is more than a little irregular, surely?
A Japanese man's sword is a soul, Ryunosuke. It can't be parted from my katana. Karuma guides me. I truly believe that. So his name compels its wielder to slice evil in two. Not that you would need much compelling. On that subject, there's something very important that I have to do in Great Britain. And I'll sacrifice anything to make it happen. I'd appreciate you seeing it through with me. Of course I will. Whatever it is, I'll see it through to the end with you. I knew you wouldn't let me down. That important thing he had to do. I still don't know what that was. But I'm sure I'll find out in the next part of the game. But I'm going to see a place for myself and work it out. In Great Britain's capital, London. As long as you don't have to deal with the London smog or the poor sanitation system they have. Because, you know, the Thames can get really smelly sometimes. Back in those days. Save the game! The Adventure of the Runaway Room. Finally, done with case 2. So case 2 was just all about investigation and the deduction system. Okay. So it was kind of the second half of the tutorial in the game, so maybe the next time we're actually going to really start the game now, but we're actually in London now. Great Britain. The British legal system we'll get to explore next time. So everything's been set up now. Ryunosuke is now actually the lead character, not Kazuma anymore. Kazuma is dead. Didn't really die the most dignified death. He got pushed over by a little girl. And hit his head. Okay. Yeah, who could have saw that coming? And now Susato is our assistant, who will Susato take down Ryunosuke anytime he is naughty, and he will learn to like it. He will learn to like this abuse from his assistant. And we have a very great detective who is assisting us, who admittedly I do kind of enjoy voicing. He has fun. I don't know why he's a great detective when he gets his deductions so incorrect, but whatever. So the next case, we'll see what happens in the next case here. We'll continue this. Next case will begin. Let's go for Thursday. Tomorrow night I want to try and do something else that I kind of need to do anyway. So anyway, that's going to be it for now. Thanks for watching, and I will try to continue the Grace Ace Attorney Chronicles on Thursday night, provided nothing else comes up. And yeah. Case 3, I think there's like 5 cases in the first half of this game, so okay. Just trying to time myself here. I feel like I'm progressing kind of slowly, even though there's a lot to go through in this game, but whatever. I'm getting through it, I'm enjoying it. It's a fun story. And if that's it for tonight. Have a good night. Bye-bye.